everyone, this is Jody from Cody's General Store, and today our talk is going to be on, are you living all that you were created to be? So as you know, we're back here at the studio, and we did this last week with our little talk about how God turned discarded things, trashy things, whatever, into beauty. So that's what we're talking about. We've been talking in the past about how pain doesn't dictate who we are. So we're here today, and my question for you today is, are you living all you were created to be? And we talked about sometimes that there's hard questions to not only ask us, but ask ourselves. A lot of times I ask my grandkids hard questions. I don't want them to think that I'm judging them by asking them these things that we need to think deeply about, but I need to ask some things that, what does this mean to you? What do you think about it? I care what you think about it. And that's the same with our journey. When I began to see that I needed to ask myself hard questions instead of letting life just take us along, take me along. And I'm hoping you can hear me, because today I left the house without my video setup that I usually do my video stuff on. So I'm further from the camera than I normally am, and I'm hoping you can hear me. So I can't see comments on this, so you're not going to be able to let me know, but tell me in the comments, and then I'll be able to correct it next time if I have to go through this again because of my memory. But anyways, we're talking about, are you all that you were created to be? A lot of us don't even know what our purpose is. I never knew. I thought this is life. Heck, just to survive is a happy place for me, to survive without any drama, chaos, but not thinking about that when these struggles come along, that maybe it's opportunities for growth. Maybe God has opened doors for us to grow, to be challenged. You know, there's a lot of, for instances, where people put stuff on you that you didn't ask for, that are childhood issues, you know, but that doesn't define who you are. We can choose. We always have a choice on how we're going to react. We can't choose about what happened to us, what's coming upon us, what family we're born into, but how we react to that is on us. We're our own individual. God has made us all unique and individuals. So what we're doing today is, I have it's a sealer is what it is. And I use sealers a lot to seal my projects with, or even to decoupage on. So this vase that we have painted, if you tuned in last Monday, I think it was, we painted this vase I found at a garage sale. So we're turning it into something different. And that was a lot of what our talk was about, was this was my happy place. This is what God used creating to show me that I am valuable, I am unique, and I have worth. A lot of us don't think we have worth because of things that happened in our life, but we do. Everything has worth that God created. Even if you don't know Him, you are amazing and you have worth. So right now what I'm doing on this vase, I painted it and I'm putting a sealer on it because I'm going to do more to this vase, but this is going to be my in-between stage. I thought about that and I thought, you know, that's kind of like our journey. I didn't get where I'm at in one day. This has been a journey for me. I don't even know how many years that I've walked with God, trusting and believing Him that I was more than what was going on in my life at that time. But I looked at that and I thought there's been a lot of layers, and that's what this is. I'm putting a layer on this so I can do more stuff on this, so I can be more creative and bring this out to its fullest potential on the way that I see it. And I guess that's what I wanted to talk about, was the way God sees us. He sees us in our fullest potential. He knows what we're capable of. We don't. We're just in the crap, sitting here thinking, oh my God, this is the way life is. This is the way it's going to be. Also, too, at this time, we know there's a lot of people that are committing suicide because they're hopeless, looking at their lives or living it from day to day. But honestly, from what we've been talking about in the past, it's the way you look at things too, your perspective. How I used to always call myself a loser. I couldn't do anything. My favorite words, I can't. It's like, oh my gosh, I look at that now and think, you know, I wish I wouldn't have been locked into that mindset, but I was locked into it until the awakening came, where I finally saw that I am valuable. I am worth more. It's my mind. You can create anything, do anything you want with the right mind perspective and your foundation, of course. And my foundation is the power of the Lord, his love and forgiveness and power. Like we said, we talked about last time, I talk about it all the time, it's my favorite verse. God did not give me a spirit of fear. One of love, no, let's say this first, right. One of power, one of love, and one of sound mind. And I always want to get that right, because power is what he gives us. Power to be able to love, power to be able to have a sound mind. We have that. We just have to believe it. So what we're doing now is sealing this with a sealer. So once again, I can create all that this vase is going to be according to my perception. But how about if we looked at God perspective on who we are in him? What words does he say we are? What truth does he speak over me? That's what I need to pay attention to. That's what I need to renew in my mind daily, what God says about me. And the same thing can be for you. I am no more special with the Lord than you are. But it's like the knowledge and knowing who I am in him, seeing things totally different. Everybody has that opportunity. Everybody has that choice. We've talked about choices, that we all are giving a choice on how we react, how we think, leaning not on our own idea on the circumstances of what's going on, but trusting and walking by faith. So as you see, we're just kind of putting a top coat on this little bugger to seal it so I can put another layer on here. And this is the process we go through when God's creating us on this journey, where we're becoming all that he has purposed us to be. And it is going to be amazing. Sometimes I'm surprised at the things I'm able to do by just taking one step at a time and not letting the old self-talk cripple me, paralyze me, shut me down. And that goes anyway in life. Whatever you're doing, who you are, you're not me. Maybe you're not into this kind of stuff. Maybe your path isn't leading you that, but it's the same thing on faith and believing that you are worth it, that God created you for so much more. And so that's the challenge I have for you today. We've been writing, journaling, letters to God, and that's what we've been doing in the morning or whatever time of day is better for you. But write down, what are the blocks in your life from you being all you can be? Is it fear? What is it that's stopping you? Like we talked about, fear is paralyzing is what it is. And fear is a liar, major liar. So don't go for that. But write down in your journal, letters to God, write down and ask him, what am I created to be? I don't even have a clue. If you would have said this to me years ago, I'd be like, really? I don't have a choice in that. It is what it is. It's going to happen. As you can see, my life is becoming what my life is becoming. Nope. That was the wrong mindset. That was the wrong way I was viewing things. I was viewing things through my circumstances and not who God speaks over and says I am. And like I said, we're all created in his image. And if we're in his image, then we have strengths and abilities, power, creativity, so much more than we're living. You know, there's a part in the Bible, it's in the book of Esther, but it more or less reveals to Esther coming to a point where her uncle had told her, who knows if you were created at such a time like this? And Esther had to step out in faith, because she could have been killed with the option that she had to stand up boldly and be who she was created to be, but walk by faith. So we all have the opportunity. God gives us the opportunity every single day to see him, to have a relationship with him. And sometimes we have to be still and know that God is God, and he is for us and with us and wants a relationship with us. So that is our little talk for today on Letters to God. And this is our vase. Wasn't a big time project, but it's part of the process. And that's what we say about our walk, part of the process. You know, even if you got up one day and decided to face your fear. You know, I had a time when my husband, I don't know if I told you guys about this, but I post a lot of things on John Sprain and I help him out occasionally. But I'm going to say it was, I don't know, I was in my 60s. And my husband came to me and he said, I want to know if you'll help me on this one spray project. It's up in the rangeland, up in the mountains, and we need to use four-wheelers to do it. And I had done spraying with him before, but backpacks, no four-wheelers. And I never had experience on a four-wheeler. I'd never ridden one. And I said, well, I don't think I can do that. That's in the mountains. I don't think I can be doing the four-wheeler stuff. And he said, I'll show you, I'll teach you. And so I didn't want to do it. I was scared. Fear. I was raised on fear. I raised my children on fear, which I'm not boasting about it. I don't like it. I had to talk to them about break these change. Does any of you have generational change in your family where my mom did it, my dad did it, this is who I am, this is what I am, not thinking you had an option to change that in you. So I was consumed with fear. So this was definitely like, that ain't gonna happen. And it's like I gave it to God and he's like, why not? Why can't you do that? It's like, cause what if this happened? What if that happened? I'm too old, I can't do that. And so I obediently said, okay, well, give it a try. And that obedience wasn't for my husband per se, it was for God. If he said I could do it, who am I to say that I can't? If I believe him, if he has me, if I'm walking by faith. So I did it one day at a time. And trust me, I was shaking in my boots. I was singing Jesus songs to get me up the hill, through the path, over the hills, that I wouldn't flip that machine. But it worked, and it was one day at a time. I did the brave thing one day at a time. I got on that, and I did have to put trust in my husband. He always went before me, and I followed suit to what he did. So I had a path. I had an example of how to do this. But our path and our example is God. When his word says you can do this, then you can do it. Do it scared, because at least you're showing up and you're going forward. And that's what's bringing us into this being all we were created to be, living the journey with him and trusting and having faith. All right, guys, did my vase with top coat. Next time, maybe we'll put something on it to make it pretty. All right, guys, so choose joy. Make sure go out and take one step at a time, face that fear, whatever it is. And if you're not quite sure, go to God, talk to him. Do your letters to God, get it out on paper. Because also too, when we keep things in our mind, they're dreams. They're not pursuing our goals. You're not gonna go anywhere unless you put it on paper and begin to put that in your mind and begin to visualize it, see it every single day. I can do this. I started replacing the lies of I can't with I can. I have to do it in God, because I don't even have the confidence in myself to be able to do this, because my whole pattern thinking brain waves are I can't. I'm too scared, fear. So put it on your paper, look at it, pray about it, talk to God. All right, guys. Have a good weekend.